So here is another debris pile. There's actually two of them right now. Every time I think it's almost the end of the demolition, more comes up. But I really think at this point it's pretty close. This is the old ducting for the original heating and cooling system, and going to a mini split setup, so won't need that. Still got some more to tear out, but progress has been made. Actually, I see there were two junk piles or debris piles. No, there's actually three. This is number two. Bunny in the distance. This is a recent addition. Right about here, I will insert a time lapse of this part of the driveway being put in. Got to do the rest at some point, but needed this really to do the stairway, and at this point just trying to keep costs somewhat under control. Probably do the rest of the driveway, I'm guessing, next year. There's going to be a ramp up of the gravel here eventually. That's still to be done. Here's debris pile number 3, fairly modest compared to the other two, and very modest compared to Mount Trevorist, which preceded it. There she is, taking a look inside. So that's one of many things that has been added. It is the sliding glass door. I've talked about that before, I think. There was originally a much more grandiose vision, but financial reality set in, and that was the compromise. And it's not really much of a compromise. Looks really nice. The original windows that were in here met with a tragic end. So I'll go ahead and insert a picture here. Had an unseasonably odd day a week or two back, and the wind just started blowing like crazy, and the windows were rusting against that railing there. Myself and multiple other people had seen them there. It seemed like a reasonable place for them for now, and yeah, it turned out it was not. So that was a little bit frustrating, but these things happen. So another change since the last update. This has all got framed in. This is the main/master bedroom. Here is the doorway into the bedroom. But before that, this is where the kitchen is going to be. So there is the plumbing for the sink. The plumbing is mostly done. There's still a few things to get taken care of. Then hopefully next week we'll have a plan and move forward with the electrical work that needs to happen. So just to review, there's going to be a counter across here. This upper area is going to be open. Counter space here, a stove about there, or a range top actually. Longer term, there'll probably be an oven here. I'm going to be reusing my, at least this plan currently, my appliances for now. The refrigerator will go here. You can see the hookup for the water right there for the ice machine. Be reusing my refrigerator. What's interesting, at least I think it's interesting, is if you see that hole there, that's where the refrigerator was originally. That's where the original water feed for the ice machine was. So it's going to basically have rotated 90 degrees and moved, I don't know, less than a foot in this new plant. So it'll be facing this way towards me, and originally it faced that way. So not much of a change for the refrigerator, even though the whole house has otherwise been radically modified. All right, so now we're actually inside the main suite. There's the doorway. I was over there just a moment ago. So this is an old existing gas line. This was originally for the stove. So, originally the kitchen actually came over, almost to here, really. And that was where the stove was. So the stove will be moving over there. One of the things I'm having done is I'm going to put in a small kind of kitchenette unit. So this here is for a sink. Not going to put gas lines in. Just wanted to be able to have almost treat this room as kind of a studio apartment with a really nice bathroom. So yeah, there'll be a counter over here, a sink, and stuff, microwave, things like that. So a small kind of kitchenette. Doorway onto the back deck. That's been there for a while. This window got moved. It was actually originally over there. Or maybe it was there. Honestly, I don't remember. One or the other. Maybe I'll insert a picture here of the original setup. Getting ahead of myself. So this is where I plan on having a desk, bed over in here, chair, something over there, to be determined. This is the bathroom. Actually, this area here, so it's a really wide doorway currently, but that's because there's going to be a pocket door or possibly a barn door. I haven't decided yet. Right there. So the real door is going to be fairly typical, fairly normal. So we're coming into the bathroom. The tub will be kind of against the wall with the faucets against the wall there. That part of the plumbing is still in process, has not been completed. So soaking tub here. And over here will be the shower. So the plan is to have, this is another thing that's in process, a shower head above and a shower head somewhere around in there. And basically from approximately here across will be what is referred to as a wet room. So there'll be a glass all the way up to the ceiling on this side. And on this side there'll be a half wall with glass going up. The reason for the half wall is because the toilet is going right there. Now, along the lines of making this place kind of essentially, the main / master a studio apartment, is there will be a stackable washer and dryer here. So we'll see this in a little bit. There's still going to be a laundry room downstairs, but it's just me, and in part this remodel is kind of an investment. It was a way to fill my time. So I don't really need this monstrously huge house for myself for the most part. So maybe someday when I'm old, I'll rent out portions of it. I say older. Or I can get just, mostly live in this part of the house and not have to deal with constantly cleaning up out in the rest of the house. That's also part of the plan. So over here we have the walk-in closet. This has been here for a while, so nothing new about this. I talked a little bit, I think in the past, possibly, about these beams here. There's 3 studs, essentially. These are the last remaining studs from before the remodel on the interior for an interior wall. So of course, the outer studs, some have been added, but they're, several of them are original, but these are the only interior wall original studs. And there is a small chance, depending on how big the stackable washer and dryer are, that they will have to be removed and replaced by 2x4s if we need a little bit of more extra space. Another option would be to move this wall, but the plumbing has already been done, and that just sort of crowds things a little bit more going in this direction. So really it's probably best if we have to get a little more space in there to convert this to 2x4s. It's an interior wall, it's not a supporting wall, so that is a doable thing. All right, last little bit here. So that's where the vanity and sinks, there'll be 2 sinks over there. And I believe along here there will be a linen closet. So linen closet, 2 sink, vanity, mirror. That's kind of it for this part. Oh, there is one other thing. Almost forgot. Gas fireplace here. So that's still, the gas line hasn't been put in yet. The reason, I think I might have talked about this before, going with mini splits, they're going to be start being installed next week. Mini splits are great to a point, and that point is where it gets below a certain temperature. I've heard various numbers, but it's a temperature that is not super common around here, but does occur. So the gas fireplace is going to be a backup. I suppose it's also kind of like almost a feature wall for those situations where the mini split can't keep up, so that I won't become an icicle. And also, so there'll be 2 up here. The basement's actually pretty well insulated because it's partially underground. So currently there's no plan to put a gas fireplace down there. That could change. Another gas fireplace right here. Again, really just a supplemental heat. Oh, something I think that's changed over here that I haven't talked about yet since the last update. The doorway used to be there. It has been filled in. And a new doorway has been created right here. So this will be the hallway eventually. This part of the whole remodel is on hold, the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom, just because it's with it getting later in the year, heading towards fall. The priority is really to get the main part of the house done as soon as possible, and also it's just a matter of managing the money. So those bedrooms and the bathroom, they'll get done eventually, just not in the immediate future. And that's allowed the space to become storage for way too much other stuff. Anyway, so out there's the shop garage. We've talked about that before. Oh, one more minor thing. That window used to be, so just to review, used to be the stairway down here. You can kind of see the different subflooring right there. That's where the stairway down used to be. The window was centered, so there was a wall here. The window was centered between that wall and that wall, which meant when the stairway was removed and this wall was removed, suddenly that window was not centered. So that window also got moved just a little bit in this direction to center it between these 2 walls. I think I've covered all the changes. Let's see here. Marley wants to come in. You want to come in, Mar? Okay, we'll let you in. Okay. Hey. Yo. Yeah. Good times, Marley. Good times. That's where the shower is going to be. That's where the shower is, in fact. It needs some work. Generally, I don't let her in here, but there's been a pretty good cleanup recently on this floor, so she's fine. One of the small but important challenges of this whole process has been, keeping her in situations where she's not prone to have some sort of problem, like, stepping on a nail or whatever. So it's a little like having a small child, I suspect. You just got to look out for him. Marley, let's go back outside. Good girl. Okay, I'll be out in a minute. Okay, we're in the basement. Lots of stuff been going on around here, and little of it really impacting the current floor plan of the basement. Most of it really just to support changes upstairs. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but my number one recommendation if you're doing a remodel, particularly a significant remodel, is consider very carefully any modifications to where the plumbing goes. Because I think, you can finesse the electrical stuff without having to tear your house completely apart. There's still some amount of demolition required, but for plumbing changes, you pretty much have to, you might as well just tear off all the drywall, which is what happened here. So this is actually below where the kitchen is going. This is, there's the kitchen sink, there's the water feed for it, and there's the drain. So all this had to come out to make space for that. And some of it would have needed to come out anyway. The furnace was originally here. Since it's going away, as I mentioned earlier, that came out. All that ducting is eventually going to have to come out. It goes all the way down to the far end of the hallway there. Speaking of the furnace, make you a good deal on a furnace if you're interested. All right, so out there's the furnace. There's where the furnace was. This was what used to be my little small music studio. Kind of still is, if we ignore the fact that it's mostly full of stuff. This wall had to come out partially as well. The downstairs bathroom is on the other side, so there's a bathtub over there. But one of the things that's happening, and I'll show the original laundry room here shortly, is the washer and dryer moving in here. It's a much bigger room. It's a nicer space. You'll see in a moment exactly what I'm talking about. So again, utilities had to be pulled out. The reason this was feasible in part, though, was that since there's a tub on the other side, there was actually an existing drain that could be utilized. And it goes down below the concrete slab at the base of the house. So that would have been an even more invasive change if it had been necessary to put a drain in through the floor. That would have been utter destruction. Honestly, it just would not have happened. I really lucked out in having that drain there. It just made this whole moving the washer and dryer a lot more feasible. And so that's one of the things that's going on. That's up there. There's a temporary cable for power. You can ignore that. And that pipe is actually from the new bathroom over by the 2 bedrooms in what used to be the shop area. So there'll be a soffit there. There'll be soffits in various places. More on that in a bit, but again, plumbing. If you want to do major plumbing changes in a renovation, be prepared. It's going to add significant cost and complexity to your remodel. All right, so speaking of additional costs and complexity, this is the downstairs bathroom, so I just basically moved on the other side of that wall I was showing just a bit ago. And the master/main bedroom bathroom is, more or less right above us. It's actually a little bit more over in that other room. But that has had a significant impact on this bedroom on this other side here, which I'll show in more detail momentarily. But some of it is impacted in here. you know, some of this water. So, okay, for instance, this is the sink upstairs in the main bathroom. There it is. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I reserve the right to change my story on that. But again, lots of stuff has to get torn out to deal with the plumbing. It'll also make the electrical work that's hopefully coming up next week a little easier as well, because this is all exposed already. When you're doing a remodel, it's my understanding that the plumbers want to come in earlier rather than later. And when you see how invasive the plumbing stuff is, it's easy to understand. I'm sure the electrical people prefer them to be done first as well. So this is the existing laundry room, and it's small. It's teeny tiny. The hot water heater used to be over here, and in fact, it will be again. But the one that was in here was 30 plus years old. It worked great, but it wasn't necessarily the most efficient. And you know, given all the additions and changes, really need to look at something different. So current plan is to go with an on-demand hot water heater. I have gas here. I've been told that the electrical on-demand are problematic unless you've got fairly modest needs, but the gas-based ones, they can scale up quite large. So theoretically, I should have pretty much limitless hot water, so that'll be nice. So other than the fact that this room is very small, another reason for moving the washer and dryer is the way that they're currently set up, the hookups. You know, this is the washer. It opens this way. This is the dryer. But it could be made to open the other way, but either way it opens, it's just not compatible with the washer. The washing machine, the door can only open that way. So what you really want is your washing machine on the left, dryer on the right, and then I'll swap the door around. And then you can just go one. Well, imagine this is the washing machine. It's just much easier to move stuff. So in addition to that other room being much bigger, much more appropriate, it'll allow for the washer and dryer to actually be oriented in a way that makes more sense. What ultimately happens to this room is still a little bit up in the air. This is kind of a utility wall. Probably can't really get rid of it, but might be able to take some of this space, you know, just leave enough for basically the hot water heater and add it onto this room over here. That's one idea. Hasn't been finalized. That's very much probably a next year thing. Okay, so last stop on this little tour. Pretty sure. We'll see. So this is the bedroom. That's the bathroom over there we were looking back through a little while ago. And this is the plumbing, most of the plumbing for supporting the main / master bathroom. And what you might notice is that it would take a lot of time and probably be structurally inadvisable to cut holes through the beams to allow these pipes to go through. So what that means is the roof in here, which was originally, you know, more or less up there, is going to drop down 5 or 6 inches, and the ceilings aren't super high in here to begin with. Now, I considered this for my studio space, my music studio space. So what this might do is give me an opportunity to put some extra insulation and sound deadening in. I'm also contemplating doing the studio on the other side of the house away from my bedroom. But time will tell. But, you know, my point being, you know, this is a significant impact on this room to support all the plumbing changes upstairs. The roof is going to come down several inches. And, you know, I'm okay with that trade-off, but it's something to keep in mind, potentially depending on what your situation is, if you're planning, again, a major remodel. All right, I think that's all I had to say for now. Let's go find Marley. There she is, right where we left her. Coming out. I'm coming out. What do you say, Marley? Is that a wrap?
Is that a wrap? Yeah, I think that's a wrap.